Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson. This is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
And tonight we'll be reviewing a movie called Bloodfest that was released in 2018. And don't confuse it with Hellfest. But it has a similar... it takes place in a sort of a Halloween theme park again.
But it's not... It's not quite the same. This is totally different.
Yeah, it has a different approach to the story. It doesn't deal with just one killer. It deals with a thousand
whole
killers.
tribe of them, and the idea is... No, I'm not going to tell you.
Anyway, let's dive right into it.
Bloodfest. Produced by Seth Kaplan, Will Hyde, and Ezra Venetos. Directed by Owen Edgerton. Actually, Owen Edgerton wrote the screenplay as well.
Nice.
Having said that, I'll move on to the cast. Excuse me, moving right along.
I think
I had everything here in front of me and printed out.
I also heard that Owen, who's directing and writing it, he's actually starring as an actor in it too. Meaning he's doing what most of filmmakers have done in the past. They're starring in it.
Anthony Walsh. Which one? He plays Anthony Walsh.
Yes.
No, Walsh is a naughty guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he plays a naughty guy. You dirty bug. You put yourself in the antagonist position. Well, there you go.
How about you?
Here we go. I'm going through these. I won't put every man these dogs in here. Actually, Will Hyde is also the masked killer. On the producer, okay, who else is stuck in there?
Clever.
Yeah, in the prologue part.
That's cool.
Okay, here we go. Robbie Kay plays Dax Conway. Excuse me.
I know of Dax.
Excuse me. He has a friend called Krill, played by Jacob Batalon. There's a girl called Sam. It's Seychelle Gabrielle. There's a girl called Ashley, played by Barbara Dunkelman.
She's the coolest blonde, so if you understand.
Yeah, it's okay. I won't go through all the other people in here. However, where's his daddy? Here we go. Tate Donovan plays Dr. Vaughn Conway. He's a naughty guy, but we don't know he's a naughty guy till later on.
Yeah.
And who's the other guy? Owen Edgerton, as mentioned before, plays Anthony Walsh, their main antagonist running the show. And I'll drop down the bottom here and put down William Hyde as the masked killer in the prologue. Yeah. He wants a bit part, Yeah. Well, he's paying for it. Possibly.
Yeah, possibly.
I want a bit part. Okay, but
well, you're just good.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you got killed in the
anyway,
part.
Enjoyable movie. Sarah will tell you all about it.
Yeah. So it starts way years ago, back many, many years ago, and it takes place in Halloween.
Gee.
Dex and his mum, who I was just watching The White Zombie. Is that right?
Yeah, Bella Gates movie looked like White Zombie, yeah.
Yeah, and how she tells him about how that Dexter's stronger than he looks, sort of the same sort of dialogue that Dale and Tucker said in versus Evil.
Oh, please don't do this, because the people who haven't seen the movie won't know. Okay?
Anyway, she just says that he's stronger than he looks and all that stuff. And then she decides to go into the kitchen to fix up a chocolate milk for him.
Or do something.
Or whatever. And while he continues watching White Zombie. And while she's in the kitchen, we see the man in the hoodie wearing a red mask.
Ooh.
We then hear her stumble and then get killed by him. And then the boy sees him, and at one point we think the worst. Then his dad comes in and bang, bang, the man in the red mask falls or dies.
Yay.
And the boy is in shock, and then all of a sudden he wakes from this nightmare, and it was many years later.
About 7 years later or something.
So yeah, he's looking forward to a Halloween event like Hellfest or like whatever. And his dad is totally against it. He says, horror killed your mother, therefore you must not go to this event.
I'll explain. Someone jump in the gun here. Daddy is a psychiatrist.
Yes.
And he's blaming horror movies and all other good things that we like on creating mental aberrations in people.
Yeah.
Because he deals with these sort of people all the time. So he's saying, well, that deluded idiot who killed your mother was a nutcase, and he's a nutcase because he watched horror movies. So we know that's not true, don't we, folks?
Yeah, well, I think the best person would describe it is that horror does not make psychos.
No.
Psychos make psychos.
If you're mentally unhinged to start with, it doesn't take much to set you off.
I know that sounds like guns don't kill people, people kill people.
Exactly right. Cars don't run over people, the person driving the car does. So yeah.
Okay, now let's move on from that that sort of sci-fi, whatever, and move on to...
We should get your English right. What were we trying to say?
Philosophy away.
Oh, philosophy. Oh,
yeah, sorry about that. And let's discuss this upcoming movie. So, the father cuts up his ticket tag bracelet.
His ticket to go, and which came with the bracelet. Yeah.
Which allows you to go inside the park and with no problems. But anyway, his friends tell him, why don't you phone up this girl named Ashley, who's an actress, or an upcoming actress.
Up-and-coming one, yes.
Yeah, in order to be able to secure him a pass, if with any luck. He begs, he says, please, 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 please let me go to Bloodfest. Yeah. He goes on his bent knee, if you will, and this is right inside the store with his friends. He's I guess he's an employee for a video hire place. This is long before the whole renting movies online thing, if you will. Wouldn't you say, Mike?
You're telling the story.
Yeah, it's just I haven't seen too many of those things around these days, except for the odd one here and there in my town. Anyway, he eventually secures a pass, or not really, he doesn't secure a pass. She allegedly...
Allegedly?
No, she arranges him to come without having a bracelet. This bracelet is a key part to this
It certainly
movie.
is.
Soon enough, he arrives at the park, and everything goes in full swing. There is a lot of costumes, a lot of interesting souvenirs, and there's an interesting performance where what's his name character he plays? Oh yeah, Anthony. He's about to announce the entertainment for this evening. There's famous directors, famous actors there. It's a bit of a cameo.
A few monsters? No.
Yeah, and they're all there to, I guess, to meet the fans. Even though sometimes the directors are like, I've never seen this movie. Who cares? I've never seen it. So why do you bother me with this sort of crap, all that stuff? I don't really watch horror.
Look.
Sort of thing. But... well, that's not a real issue. I mean, I've seen filmmakers who say they've never seen the movie or they never attend the film premiere.
Yeah,
sometimes
wait a minute. If they made the movie, they saw the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, George Lucas never saw New Hope. Remember what I told you about how he never attended the film premiere for New Hope?
He would have been in the cutting room. He would have seen it in the cutting room, in the post-edit.
Maybe so. But he didn't go to the film premiere because he
thought
he didn't want to go. And then he thought it would be a flop, but it turned into a giant triumph in the end. Anyway, back to the story. So everything goes in full swing, and then suddenly the people in the masks start acting funny, and they start ramming up their chainsaws, and the red hooded figure appears,
stage,
and Dex recognizes him or her.
No, the person, or the mask,
and that person starts killing two audience members on stage.
Yep, slash your throat.
And I think at first the audience thinks this is all part of the show. These girls have been drafted as actors.
Nope.
But no, it's not. As it turns out, the rest of the masked figures start killing audience members. And then this is where everyone starts scattering and getting scared, and they start running off in different directions. There was even an influencer, videographer, who was filming the event, and then she got cut down to pieces.
While she was influencing.
Ooh, cool. Anyway, the kids quickly scatter into a sort of a room, and they try to border it up, and then along with Ashley and her director boyfriend, that's the guy who she's dating, and they try to make a plan of trying to get out of there. And according to Anthony, the horror has rules, and this is the sort of same rules we hear in Scream so many times.
Yeah,
and
Scream.
Yeah, the sort of rules you may have heard about, how to survive a horror movie and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those types of
How
rules.
to survive a zombie apocalypse. Yeah. Right.
Like, all those stuff. Like, all that sort of information you may have been brought up for years and years and years.
Bend over and kiss it goodbye. It's the last time you're going to see it, right?
Right. Yeah, so that's the whole point of this thing. They have to follow the rules and survive. And you won't believe this, guys, but the theme to these parks, they're sort of similar to a few of the movies we may have reviewed in the past, like James Wan's Saw, or Friday the 13th and Halloween's Slasher Killers.
I'll explain it. We have a thing here, a bit like Hellfest and other good groovy things like these movies.
Yes, we do.
Down at Warner Brothers Movie World in Brisbane, in Queensland.
Yeah, it only happens on Halloween.
And what
October.
they do is they have different precincts there based on different themes and different movies. Like you might have Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you might have something else, blah, 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 blah. And you go in there, and it's got that sort of general feel to it. And you got people running around in the alleyways and the arcade, where they walk and everything, and they're running around with chainsaws and stuff, and they're dressed up. It's good fun, but each precinct's a bit different, so you can go into a different precinct, and the people in that precinct stay in that area to keep that theme going.
Yeah.
So you probably got the same thing in America and England and other places too. So
so back to the story. So they have to survive this in order to get away. So they figured out the only way they have to get to the exit, back exit that Ashley went through, and in order to get there, you have to go through these
Clownville.
lands.
Was it Clownville?
Yeah, and you have to go through
Clowntown,
different
whatever.
areas around the park in order to get to that
exit. Guy
exit.
Krill hates clowns. Actually, I'm not overly fond of clowns either.
Yeah.
Nothing against clowns, but I was victimised by a clown, and I was part of an act in a circus, because a clown picked me out of the audience, and I've been traumatised.
Anyway, back to the story. One of the creatures, people enter the room. Well, before we get to that, Ashley's boyfriend phones up the police, we think, but it's not going directly to the police station. It turns out it's going directly to Anthony's office. Control room.
Yeah, so you think they've jammed all the phones so no one can phone out. Mm-hmm. But anyone makes a phone call, it'll just go to the control room. So they can jam it and they can intercept the phone call and
And then a killer comes through the room, and they finally knock him out, and they see on his chest a GoPro camera.
Yeah,
right there on his chest.
We've got one, haven't we?
And we also noticed that the guy is got electricity, have some wires attached to his body, like electricity wires.
Okay, here we go. Those of you who might have gone to a physiotherapist or somewhere and he put a tens machine on you with those little pads.
Yes.
A bit like that.
Yeah. Anyway, these GoPro things are actually attached to go directly to some gamers in a different place who think they're doing a virtual reality type game of sorts.
They're making these, and they're actually controlling these people who, I believe, I'm not sure, but I think they're dead or they're being drugged and they're being controlled by these gamers.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah, and so they're left with the impression that they're playing video games and stuff like that, and they don't think they're really killing people. Would you say?
That's the feeling I get. Yeah.
Anyway, so the kids go through. They try to escape this killer, and eventually they head into the woods. And this is heading towards a sort of graveyard. And the guy who's the director, he mocks everything about it, saying, "Oh, this is not real. This is not a real graveyard.
This is a fake.
Blah, 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 blah."
It's not a real graveyard. It's only fake. It's mock-up. And what happens?
Some bunch of zombie hands shoot out of the ground and pull him under, and they gobble him up.
Yeah,
and then we hear them belch.
So that's when I don't know whether these people have been drugged and think they're zombies or they're actually real zombies.
Yeah. Anyway, the kids run through the woods and they come to a house and they duck inside there and they meet another director who's an ex-actor, I guess, for a slasher killer type movie of sorts. I don't know what it's called, and Dex is obviously a big fan of this guy. He even has a tattoo of the very actor on his shoulder, like a lot of fans I've seen lately who often get tattoos of their idol, whether it's Elvira or...
Now, I would get an Elvira tattoo any day.
Me, on the other hand, I would rather not have a tattoo. One of my friends asked me, maybe you should get a tattoo now that you've gotten so skinny. And I said, okay, I have a choice. I can either wear a tattoo and regret it for the rest of my life, or I can wear a bikini during summer.
And be proud of your body.
And be proud of my body.
There you go then. I'd rather have you in a bikini proud of your body than having a tat that you're ashamed of.
Yeah. I don't want to regret that, guy. So let your minds make the decision what you prefer.
I can say I'm a dad. Yeah.
Anyway, back to the story. Our heroes, they continue trying to avoid the creatures. They eventually arrive in a school of sorts to avoid one of the creatures. And this is from one of the stories that the actor guy he did, and he had to try to memorize the story from that very movie he did, even though he couldn't remember the plot. I guess it was a franchise and that went to different directions. You know, the whole thing about franchises, they go in the 80s, they would often go in different story directions, and they don't really add up. Would you say, Mike? Like in Halloween and Friday the 13th, we're all left with different stories, and we're trying to work out in our little heads
who did what to whom and what's going on.
Which is true and which one's false, all our heads. Anyway, eventually he tells him to pretend to be the father of this psycho killer in order to elude this creature and avoid him. So he pretends to be like him.
I'm proud of you, son. You've done well.
But he makes one teeny weeny error that maybe a fan would notice. He made the mistake of using the wrong name.
Oops.
And this breaks the illusion to that fact. And eventually they dash quickly away and into another room that's down below in the basement. And I think this would probably be a great way for them to escape and get away from the killers above. But unfortunately, this is not the case. It turns out this lands them into a sort of puppet area, and one of the puppets looks like Billy the Puppet from Dead Silence.
Yes.
From James Wan's movies.
He did it?
Yeah, he did.
I didn't know he did Dead Silence.
Yeah, he did Dead Silence and he did Saw. I can put my right hand on it.
I like James Wan. I'd like to meet him one day. He's a very, very clever man.
So I swear on a stack of Bibles that it was his work.
Well, there you go then.
Anyway, so this very puppet, it swivels its head and it does a bit of a saw-like thingy wing where one of our heroes has to help another person try to get out of a trap.
Yeah.
And somehow this guy gets free, but she gets trapped inside the trap. And it's like, goes on a timer, like, jigsaw timer.
Yeah, you got something like 30 minutes or half an hour, or not 30 minutes or an hour or something to get out, or you die. Yeah,
while this is happening, Ashley wants to go to the next room to wash up, and the guy, what's his name? Krill, who's a total virgin in this movie.
He wants to get... He should be the final girl.
But he wants to get laid. By anyone. Badly. And I think that him and Ashley get on.
We think they got on in the shower. It was implied.
Yeah.
We didn't see anything. Strictly good, wholesome, clean fun of people being killed. No sex scenes.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. So eventually the actor sacrificed himself for Sam. That's the girl I said that would end up in the trap. And saved her life.
And he died.
Died. so you guys know that in the control room, they're recording everything and they're hoping to make this into some kind of movie, edit it all down, all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, you're going to be all night. You wouldn't have something like a 12-hour movie, would you? So, just the best bits, an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah, quite right. So anyway,
15-reeler.
Yeah. Soon enough, the kids head into next stop. They do head to the clown area, but somehow the zombies from the clown area are there. The clowns start getting attacked by the zombies, and then Ashley, who finds her boyfriend, who has a VIP pass, a very important person pass, which he gave to him, which will activate the door to the exit in order for them to get out.
To run away.
Yeah, he had it, and she tears it off his chest and hands it to Krell, and she gets devoured by the creature, or killed by the creature. Yeah.
I didn't like it that much anyway.
Soon enough, our heroes continue on, and they soon get to the exit, and of course Krell, who's a bit of a hacker, I think he is, begins to trinker with the card and try to get them out. And while this is happening, a vampire lady, whom we encountered earlier, I should have mentioned, wants to get it on with him, but unfortunately she bites into him and he bleeds out, and then Sam takes a stake and stabs her in the chest.
I'd rather have a sausage. Mm-hmm. That's her.
Yeah, she doesn't burst into flames or into dust, whatever. I think she just dies. Anyway,
bugger.
Krell dies, and then the door finally opens, and then we encounter Dex's dad, who turns out to be aware of what was going on. Like, he wants his son to get out of there and all that stuff. And he decides to head towards the tower to meet up with the owner of the park. So he heads down that way while his son is about to head out the door, but then the door slams shut on them, meaning the people at the office, the tower, that's what it's called, have locked them back in again, meaning they're...
Well, they didn't realise the door was open, so they automatically closed it.
Yeah, the rest of the people around the park, I guess, are getting killed or trying to survive, we don't know. Soon enough, his dad arrives up there, and he talks about how he was a silent partner to this Bloodfest.
Before this, Dad was actually at a TV station doing an interview.
Yes.
About mental problems and
how Bloodfest is responsible.
And movies and everything else were bad. Then he realises he had to leave because he realised his son might have been there.
Yeah. Well, he kind of banned his son from it because he thought, I guess the real reason is that he doesn't want his son to get hurt.
Yeah, and so he makes his way to the Bloodfest site, and then we see him walk in the control room and talk to the head guy who was his partner.
Yeah. See, the doctor here, he's given his patients. These people who are performing at this thing are actually, in reality, his patients. He's manipulated them to program into believing that they're psycho killers, killer clowns, vampires, giving them.
Still worried about the living dead guys.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to explain that.
They came from under the ground and stuff. So
anyway, so he has been doing this in order to try to make out that he can kill fans of horror, maybe a few the directors, the actors, whoever are linked to horror-related stuff, even though most of it's kind of corrupt and a bit of bull when you think about it. Anyway, his son deciding not to leave, both him and Sam, they head towards the tower. And things are falling apart, so the guys activate the wristbands, tickets.
The wristbands have some sort of a electrical thingy in them, which actually aggravates, plays up your brainwaves, and sends you a bit on the old crazy side.
Yeah. See, the doctor, he was experimenting with this. I don't know how long ago, but he was trying to use this as a way to. What was he going to use him for?
Well, for therapy. For his patients.
And somehow this has made the patients crazy, which makes me think. This patient from years ago, he may have had the wristband on himself, and when he escaped from from therapy or the madhouse.
He went to the doctor's house.
He went to the doctor's house and intentionally killed his wife.
Well, yeah, possibly.
And he may have, just maybe, the doctor is responsible for his wife's death.
Accidentally
on purpose, because he invented something that could corrupt a young person or older person's mind.
Yes, very corrupt.
So, anyway, this band turns everyone into a zombie. They start spewing black blood. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm still confused about that.
Well, black blood or gastric juices or something. It looks really gross.
They say it's black throw up. I don't know.
Well, mate, what have you been eating? Lots of licorice.
Anyway, his girlfriend Sam starts acting up, and he eventually knocks her out, and he tries to get to the tower and to confront his dad and the guy. And eventually, the doctor shoots the Anthony. He was all about, I'm going to make my ending for my movie. Yeah. He's going to use all that footage he caught from all the victims and turn it into a very bloody movie, and that's why
You're swearing. You said bloody.
Well, bloody's okay.
Oh, you mean bloody the other bloody. Okay,
and so some of his employees are dead now at this point because he activated the wristbands on them, and they somehow they killed each other, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, well, it says paying them.
Yeah, it's true. Even though they were the ones who edited this stuff and are a witness to it.
They were recording it. They weren't editing it. So they'll be posted the next day, maybe. You know. Yeah.
Anyway, the doctor.
Actually, that's one thing that bugs me.
What's that?
Well, later on, you know what happens at the end of the movie. If it gets, I'm not going to say, but how would they do the post-edit?
Oh, good point. Anyway, the doctor plans to blow the whole Bloodfest into all the theme park into oblivion. That's what Mike was referring to earlier.
Yeah, so if you blow it up and they're recording it there, if they're not sending the signal to an external server, they're going to lose all the footage anyway.
Yeah. And anyway, so Dex confronts his father, asks him, "Why are you doing this?" And he says that he's doing this to stop horror, even though technically he's causing horror.
Yeah, exactly. Naughty daddy.
Yeah. Soon enough, the masked red person arrives, and it turns out to be Dex's,
I think, sister,
yeah. Jay. Yeah, Jay, and she's quite on board with her dad doing this, but she objects to her brother getting hurt. And soon enough, when he's about to shoot his son, or not going to shoot his son, she throws this weird knife that's attached to a rope into his chest, killing him, and pulls it out. And eventually he topples into a window, and he starts falling a great distance down. And soon enough, Sam arrives as her zombie self and tries to attack Dex. And unfortunately, his sister tells her, "Take the wristband off."
So he rips it off, and she becomes normal again. Yay.
Yeah, they both embrace, and this is like la-di-da, not about it. Que sera, whatever type thing. What would be. And she says, "Oh, I'm all good," and decides to leave. And then her brother says, "You will be looking at jail time for this," seriously. But she doesn't believe that there's any chance of that, so she heads out.
Out the window?
Yeah.
Yeah, she uses her knife thing, which has a retractable cord on it, which must be a very strong cord. She uses it to abseil down the ground and disappears.
Yeah.
Oh, very clever.
Yeah.
Didn't
Dex
see that coming.
and Sam embrace, and then we go to the post-credit bit where they're outside of the park, and they're both wondering if anyone else has survived. And then we hear an explosion, boom, 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 boom.
And the whole park blows up.
And we don't even know if anyone survived.
And that's why I think, well, if they had that plan to blow it up, where would all the film footage have gone unless they were going to send it to an external server somewhere?
I like to think some people may have survived, but I don't think so. There was no way of getting out of there.
Did we see a hand come out of the rubble?
Oh, yeah. Much later, way to the end, we see a hand protruding out of the dirt, and we see in the person's hand the Kane.
The naughty guy had with him.
Yeah, and we don't know if it's him or someone else who...
Well, it's implied.
It's implied.
Yes. So he should have died.
So that's the story, and that's what we've seen in the movie.
Good, clean, wholesome fun, right?
Yeah, I do think it's an awesome movie, and I think it was made me think of a lot of those comedy horror movies that we've been reviewing a lot that take a little bit of the piss out of horror, if that you will. Would you say, Mike?
Sorry?
It takes the piss out of horror.
Yeah, a bit like a parody. I mean, I wouldn't say a straight parody, because it did refer on to movies like Saw and a few things like that.
There was also a reference to Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho.
Oh yeah, there was that shower scene. A couple of seconds. If you blinked, you might have missed it. But it's a shower scene. The blood's going down the plug hole and stuff.
Yeah,
and
there was also a house on the map that looked like the Bates Motel house.
Well, a little
bit. I could be wrong.
It did. I know it didn't look anything like it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What do you say about the film yourself? You think of the film, Mike, in general?
It's not bad. It's fun. I mean, these things, comedy or horror, you're either going to like them or not like them. I like them how they, they're really cheesy and stuff. They're fun. People run around, get killed. Yeah. Someone survives. Yay! It's just. Yeah, it's fun. I can't say anything else about it.
What about what the setting, the sets they used, if you can call them sets?
I made a comment when I was watching that. Now, I don't have a major problem with it, because obviously when they have to do a set, they're going to build one, or they can use a pre-existing building. In some cases, they're using pre-existing buildings. Now, this was a temporary site. And one of the sites was it Hodder Grammar School or High School? A tribute to Kane Hodder, obviously. No, but it was a real building. Bricks and mortar stuff in there. And you're thinking, you wouldn't have built a thing this big, a big high school type building in a theme park. You would have been a scaled down version. So I would suggest they've used existing buildings to do the sets, which is fine, but to me it takes away just a little bit of the fun of it, because it's a real building. It's not carnival. Didn't feel like a carnival. It lost it. The graveyard scene was pretty good.
I thought the graveyard
scene was good. The clown area, Clown Town, wasn't too bad, but just Hodder University, which is a tribute to Kane. A little bit over the top. Yeah, it's a bit too much. I mean, the office building, obviously, that's different, because obviously you're going to have all the electrical gear and stuff, and that's the centre of operations.
Yeah, I did think it was weird that those people were working with this guy, and it's obviously he's crazy doing this with people who are just fans of the genre, and I do wonder whether or not they are aware that these people who are taking part are really dying, or they. But then again, they don't even have an answer for most of the time when they're working there. They don't even suspect the worst or something like that. I mean, there were some interesting scenes throughout when they were doing the cut and paste in the production, where they said, "Oh, this person is grisly dead, dying in a creepy way" type thing. It was like they were doing a cut and paste quickly. I mean, you said yourself, Mike, you were asking about whether they were not editing right away.
I don't know. He might have been saving bits and stuff. Yeah. Oh, grab that bit and then put it in the folder. I don't know, but but they would have had a final, post-edit,
I wonder if it's like a found footage type movie.
Well, they wouldn't have found any footage after that big blast.
Probably.
Yeah, I can't say too much. I don't know where it was made. I don't know how much it cost. I don't know how it went straight to video on demand. So it was made for that sort of thing. So I like to think they got out of it reasonably cheaply, but I don't know. Don't know. I can't say anything else.
What about was there any reception about it, or
middle of the road stuff?
What do you mean middle of the road stuff?
Like half the people liked it. Who didn't like it? Middle of the road, yeah. Okay, yeah. Rotten Tomatoes, 50% approval rating based on 20 reviews. Metacritic has a weighted average of 54 out of 100 based on 5 critics, indicating mixed to average reviews. That's what I just said.
Okay.
Wait a minute. I'll read the rest of it to keep her happy. In a mixed review, Frank Sherrick from Hollywood Reporter criticised the film's humour, stating there are some fun moments.
Good.
But the humour more often comes across as forced.
Oh.
No, man. Well, honestly, yeah, he doesn't like this sort of movies. Yeah. He mainly criticised the film compared. Yeah, he mainly criticised the film compared to others in the same horror parody genre setting. None of the meta-styled proceedings is particularly original. Well, it's all been done before in most movies. Hello.
Well.
And that genre aficionados might enjoy the film to a certain degree.
Well,
that's that's who it was made for. But that familiarity is a double-edged sword, since buffs are also more likely to get the feeling that they've seen this type of thing far too many times. Now, I don't know about you guys. If you're going to have a slasher running around killing people, he's either going to use a carving knife, a machete, or something similar. He's not going to run around with a gun on a slasher movie necessarily, okay? Or an axe maybe, okay? Now, if you do 100 movies, you're going to have the same sort of weapons coming up all the time. It's going to be done in a suburban setting because it's going to hit these innocent people who are either doing Halloween or something's going on. Yeah. It's just how you interpret the story and how you change it a little bit. You can't change it too much, but you can make it original as you can.
Yeah.
So I don't like that review.
I did think when I look at Bloodfest and Hellfest, I don't know that
Hellfest is more confusing.
Yeah, Hellfest is a little more confusing.
We don't know why the guy did it, why he picked on those people. It leaves you going.
Yeah, and the opening for Bloodfest is a lot more, faster pace when you think about it. Unlike,
it didn't say, what do you want to do? I don't know, what do you want to do? Oh, hello, what are you going to wear? I don't know, what are you going to wear? But so Hellfest was a bit new.
Yeah, it went really faster, had a fast pace, and I almost wish it would have been the same with this, with Hellfest too.
So this one moves it faster, and look, it had a good storyline. It is what it is. It's just another comedy horror slasher.
Yeah, I know.
And it's fun. It's a bit different. This one was a bit different insofar as his dad was the main antagonist.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
He started off as a guy who objects to horror, and even though his wife, on the other hand, she loved horror, and
he didn't like it. Yeah, he was a strange man.
But when his wife got killed by one of his patients, he's like, what's the word? Like he becomes anti-horror against it.
He went bananas.
Like he thought that he was making a difference, trying to stop his children from watching horror and trying to avoid getting his son in going to Bloodfest, even though he's the one who's manipulated his patients to commit those crimes.
He wanted to prove by, I gather, he wanted to prove that if he did this Bloodfest thingy and all went horrible and he stayed in the background, people would believe him that horror movies and these sort of theme parks are horrible places and get them banned. And that's his ultimate goal. Was probably good, but he didn't quite get around it the right way. No. He just killed too many people.
He said when he asked the guy, Anthony, about the amount of bodies, the body count, he was disappointed that it wasn't a lot. He was thinking that's why they activated those bracelet things so they can start killing each other off. Even though Dex, I should mention before, he didn't have a bracelet.
One on because his daddy broke it.
Yeah, and he practically was immune to the whatever.
They couldn't control him.
Yeah, they couldn't control him. So he was able to fight off whatever the Sam, his girlfriend, and was able to save her without even causing her to die.
Lovely. Anyway, I can't say too many more. I can't find anything. I don't know where it was filmed or anything.
Yeah, I did
it does make it. Yeah. I wish somebody put some stuff on Wikipedia or IMDb or something or other.
I do like these movies that take place in a horror type theme park.
Yeah,
I mean, that'd be so cool if we ever... I know we have it at Movie World, but it would be great to have an actual theme park that did a bit of a Halloween approach to it, where it has all these different mazes that allowed the people to experience different types of horror and creepy.
Well, we went to that place a couple of months ago.
Oh yeah, Evil Corp. That was pretty. Very hands-on and really cool.
Yeah, Evil Corp was it's sort of like a night venue.
Yeah, it's something new.
It's but it's a maze inside a building to go through.
Yeah.
And you go through just your little groups at a time. Like you met 2 or 3 people, friends, go through, and they wait for a couple of minutes to have the next group through.
And
you got people jumping out of here and crawling around like creepy ghoulies and stuff. Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah, that place is really incredible, and I really loved it when I came.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching Sarah and her friend Alana reacting to what was going on around them. Nothing scares me. I've seen it all before. I've been around it.
Yeah.
And I go, what's this? And Alana was screaming her tits off, and Sarah was getting an earful. And
she was practically at my ear whenever we got to a scary bit. She screamed and
it was fun.
Gripped my arm, and I kind of staggered a bit. Like I nearly came close to falling or collapsing.
But it was fun. Great. But, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a good scare. Gets your adrenaline going and stuff. And
it makes your heart rate go really bumpy really fast.
Well, if it goes bumpy too much, you got a heart attack. But
in a good way, like it makes you feel like you're the excitement.
Yeah, you get the blood rushing. You feel more alive before you die. Well,
But it's so interesting. Anyway, I almost wish that there were more places like that.
Yeah.
Although you have to search for these places online and stuff.
She found it.
And I'm lucky to find these types of venues here and there.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's rate this movie now.
Wait a minute.
What?
I was going to say where it's available.
Oh, yeah. Tell us where
for those who are interested in having a squeeze of this one. Okay. Yeah. eBay, you can buy it. Amazon, you can rent it or buy it. So obviously it's available somewhere else as well. So look around. It might be streaming too. I got no idea. Have a look. It's a good fun parody on that sort of genre. That's it. That's all I can say. And I'm going to give it. Look, it meets all the criteria for this sort of thing. I'm going to give it a 9.
Yeah, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10 myself. I mean, I think it was great, but there were some things I just thought didn't... I mean, I thought that everything was pretty good. I just think that there was something missing from it.
Possibly. Anyway, our wonderful listeners, that's it from me. I can't think of anything else to say.
Me neither, guys. I'm out of. I don't have too many questions about it, except for the fact that I do like how this is centered around a certain place. Like, I almost wish that there were places like this around Brisbane. Maybe a theme park would be cool. I mean, it would be a really great way to celebrate Halloween and enjoyment.
Well, I like that sort of thing. I mean, I would like to wonder, I do wonder sometimes, if you could go to a real place and tell them, hey, what you want to do is do a movie there while it's actually on.
Cool.
And do some filming in some areas. A bit like handheld. Not like found footage, but use more of a handheld, using a steady cam and have your actors interacting in some areas with the other people and stuff, and just, and a bit of a covert operation sort of thing, and actually see if you can actually make it work. It could be done. I don't know.
Yes. So
who knows? Maybe I'm just dreaming.
Anyway, that's Bloody Fest. Bloodfest.
No, bloody fest. That was swearing. Bloodfest.
So that's Bloodfest, and so I hope you guys check it out, and let us know in the comments what you think of it too, guys.
Well, we liked it.
All right, that's about it for us, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this last episode, and I hope we see you guys for the next one, okay? All right, this is Sarah Stephenson.
And Michael.
Saying we'll see you guys for our next podcast. Bye for now.
Yay. Bye.